Welcome, guys. Welcome to the program of TCP/IP. Today, we are going to discuss about the difference between two protocols, and the two protocols are transport layer protocols, named as TCP and UDP. As we know, guys, that there are communications required in between the source and destination. That communication not have cannot happen without any path, and that path can be or communication path can be established by using the TCP or maybe UDP. So how this is going to be beneficial for the communication? So let's start the TCP UDP difference, because these both protocols are communication protocol, or the communication between the process to process communication, host to host communication, through which through this protocol only it is possible. So let's take the differences. What we have three columns. One parameter. First column is the parameter. In the first second column, what we have TCP protocol, and in the second column, what we have the UDP protocol. The first difference is long form. The TCP stand for Transmission Control Protocol, whereas UDP stand for User Datagram Protocol. Okay. The second difference on based on the connection. So TCP is connection oriented and UDP is connection less. The connection oriented means what? Before sending a data or before transmission any data, we need to establish the connection. Then data can be transferred and that communication path need to be terminated for the other users. And connectionless need not to have any path available to establish for transmission of any packets or segments. Then data transmission. In TCP, the data is transmitted in particular sequence, which means that the packet arrive in order at the receiver. Let's say if there is a sender is sending the packet 1, 2, and 3. Let's say this is what the sequence. In this fashion, only receiver need to be received. That is 1, 2, and 3. Here there is a no any freedom to travel to wander the packets or segments over the network with a different path. So sequence is must. Here also the dependency is more. The dependency is what is sequencing dependency. But in terms of the UDP, there is no any sequencing available in the UDP. Any packet, any datagram can have out of order implementation. The order is not required. Okay, and it managed by the application layer. So this is what the data terms. Then performance. TCP is slower and less efficient in performance as compared to the UDP. As we know, guys, it required a communication path established. So it takes some time to that particular. So performance is going to be less and let it is less efficient. But in terms of the UDP, on the other hand, the UDP is faster and more efficient than the UDP because the here response is very high. Here response is very low, we can say. Okay, because we need to wait for the packets arrive in sequence order, etc., etc. Then reliability. The TCP provide error checking support and also guarantee the delivery of the data to the destination router. This makes it more reliable as compared to UDP. So TCP is reliable. TCP is reliable only because of what there is having error checking, and error checking support also guarantee delivery. That is, whatever the item sent by the source, it should be reached to the receiver. So it guarantee is going to be taken. If there any packet loss, the retransmission can be also happen. But in terms of the UDP, it provide only basic error checking support using checksum field. So the delivery of the data to the destination cannot be guaranteed in the UDP as compared to TCP. So that's why it is going to be a less reliable or non-reliable. Okay. So this is what the difference is between the TCP IP. Let's go to the next slides. More different for more differences. Then the speed. The speed of the TCP is lower as compared to UDP, and the UDP is faster, simpler, and more efficient, guys. Because only here there is a freedom to travel any packets or datagram via any path. But here there is a one particular path is available. Only that path is going to be used for that communication. That's why it is going to be slower. Then the TCP is heavy weighted and UTP is lightly weighted. Retransmission of the lost packet is possible in TCP. Let's say if sender and receiver is there, a sender is sending data to the receiver. If receiver is not received any data, let's say not received any data, that can inform to the source that I have not received. Okay, and that packet can be again resent to that receiver, so that receiver can get satisfied. But there in UDP, there is no retransmission of the lost packet in UDP protocol. Checksum field. It has a checksum field for error correction and detection. Actually, UDP is null protocol, and in terms of UDP is null protocol if we remove the checksum field. So here there is a partial kind of things checksum is available. Then header. TCP header has 20 to 60 byte variable length in size, whereas UDP has 8 byte fixed length header. Okay. Then acknowledgement. TCP has acknowledgement segment. So if the sender is sending to the receiver, so receiver must acknowledgement that particular via ACK protocol. So ACK protocol is available, ACK field is available, and UDP does not have any acknowledgement whether the receiver is receiving any packets or not. It is not concern of the receiver, that receiver never informed to the source. There is no any feedback mechanism, I can say. Then arrival, TCP came before UDP, whereas UDP came after TCP. This is what the arrival and invention. Resources. The TCP required more resources as compared to the UDP, because while I set up a connection, we required some time. Then on that path, data can be transmitted, and then termination can also be. So here, processors, memories, a prerequisite to be available to that particular communication before happening something. Okay, so processor, memories, things are going to be resources. Kind of resources are going to be very requirement is high. In terms of the UDP, these fewer resources are required. Okay, so these are the more differences. Let's take another differences. So here, in terms of the support, TCP doesn't support broadcasting. The broadcasting is not supported, whereas UDP support for broadcasting. And what the broadcasting is, sending the message from one to all, one to all. Okay, so it is not possible, because if we wanted to send the message one to all, we required to set up the connection between one to all again. So it is again time consuming and cost consuming. Okay, that's why it is not supporting broadcasting. Flow control. TCP uses flow control mechanism that ensure a sender is not overwhelming a receiver by sending too many packets at once. TCP store data in sender buffer and the receiver data in the receiver buffer. So here there is a concept of flow control. What the flow control? In order to control the rate of the sender and receiver, what we have the buffer as a mechanism, so that they can they can adjust their load. Generally, again, what we have here, sender have a facility to announce their window size to the receiver. Receiver have a window. Receiver have a capability to announce the window size to the sender, so that sender can slow down their flow. Okay, so the receiver can receive as accordingly the receiver speed. So this mechanism is also available, so that the congestion will be reduced. Congestion cannot be happen. But in terms of the UDP, it does not provide the flow control. While UDP packets arrive in a continuous stream, or they are dropped. So once, if they want to send, they continuously flow is can be possible. If not possible, if something happen wrong, it can be dropped. So this is what the flow control. Then the handshaking. TCP uses the handshaking protocol like a sync protocol, sync acknowledgement protocol for only the confirmation. Whereas UDP never use the no handshaking protocol. Then error checking. TCP does error checking and error recovery. That erroneous packet are retransmitted from the source to destination again. So it is what more reliable. We can say the TCP is reliable, because if something lost, so again it is going to be retransmitted, and that track is going to be again kept with that particular TCP header format. And the UDP does not provide error checking, but simple discard the erroneous packet, and the error recovery is not attempted more. So here 100% can be possible, here that 100% not possible. So these are the also differences between these two. Okay, so let's take another differences of this TCP and UDP. There are fields. See, we talked about the fields. So there are 12 fields, are different fields are available, like a destination, source port, checksum, padding, pointer, windows, control bit, reserve bit, length bit, sequence number, acknowledgement number, header. Here, control bits also having seen them seen 6 different flags are available for controlling the mechanism. These are the fields are available, but in terms of the UDP, only 4 fields are available, like a length, so port number, destination port number, and checksum port number. Because we are discussing the transport layer, and in transport layer, what we have to process to process communication, that process to process communication only can be possible on the basis of the port number. Okay, because host can be identified on the basis of IP address, but the process which is running on that particular host only can be identified on the basis of the port number. So there is a port number is available. We have separate video for the port number and etc. That we please do watch that video also. Then support. TCP is suitable for the application that required higher reliability and transmission time is relatively less. So a kind of application where the TCP is going to be used, where the high reliability is possible. Okay, whereas UDP is suitable for the application that need fast and efficient transmission, such as games. UDP stateless nature is also useful for the server that answers small queries from the huge number of clients. So if you go with the support and application, so application like for the application www, HTTP and HTTPS connections, it is possible to use the TCP because connection need to be established. Then secure shell, SSH, Everybody's want reliability, secure connection to be established. So SSH is also available. File transfer protocol, that is FTP, is again required connection. That FTP is going to be used for the TCP. Then email, the version of email we can protocol SMTP, IM, AP, POP protocols. These are going to be used. Then telnet. So these are the different applications where the connection required and everybody wants a reliable communication. Where UDP is used for the DNS, DSCP, TFTP, SNMP, RIP, and VoIP. Where the VoIP is best example. Where today's era, multimedia era, where everybody is required online streaming, live streaming, where the delay is very minimum. I would say null delay to be there. So live applications are going to be used on the UDP protocol, like VPN tunneling, again online games, live broadcast. So these are the differences are available within the TCP and UDP, guys. I hope this all the differences are clear to you. And again, I'm repeating that TCP and UDP, these are the transport layer protocols. The TCP is connection oriented, UDP is connection less. That's why it is reliable and non-reliable. Where in order to happen the communication, that this protocol to be used to establish the connection. And again, TCP uses the IP protocol for the first some new nature or some for to the additional features. So TCP always used for the IP protocol for the betterment. Okay, thank you. I hope that guys the video is going to be understood by you. Thank you so much.